Hi, this is Paul, Golden Gate Enterprises. I want to talk about a very common problem that we see out in the field frequently. Several times a week we're out at a property, whether it's residential or commercial, and that is cracks in stucco that cause water damage and structural damage. So I have a couple of other videos, but this is one today. And what I want to show you is a couple of things. Follow the cursor here a little bit. This is a big crack, okay? What it shows you is that there's stress on the wall. It's a structural crack. It has opened up. That could be from settling, movement of the ground. But here's the problem. A crack like that is not your little typical hairline crack that, happens frequently in stucco. This is a gaping hole, and when it rains, water gets into this crack, and now it is back into the framing of the building. And one would think that the waterproof paper, or more appropriately, the moisture barrier, the black paper that's put in with stucco, would keep the water out. The problem is that when you get this much movement in here, it frequently tears the paper. Also, on older structures, the moisture barrier paper that is back behind the stucco is very old. It's like crumbly old newspaper. So it pretty much has very little waterproofing capabilities left. And when you get cracks in this, like this, it basically opens up and tears the paper. So now when it rains, you get water into the wall system. If you look carefully here, and I'm sorry I didn't get a better picture with a kind of a horizontal shot, but this is actually the corner of a garage door, and it's actually, I'm going to exaggerate it, it's bowed like that. Bowed like that. If you look carefully, you can see it. What's been happening is water has been getting in here and has started rotting out the framing that's here. And the problem is there's a header beam that goes across here, and where the header beam sits on top of the framing here, it's starting to all rot out and it's giving way. And the problem is it supports the second story. The long and short of it is that cracked stucco that ends up letting water into the structure can end up causing big problems, and there's definitely a problem to be fixed here. On the same structure, there's another open crack here, and this is more than a hairline crack, and what you can't see is on the other side of this fixture, it's all coming apart. Water's gotten in here and it's starting to rot out the framing. So these are things that need to be taken care of and addressed. And when we do these type of repairs, we open up the stucco, we repair any structural damage that's in there, and then we have to re-waterproof it and tie in the old stucco with the new stucco. So it's not just a matter of slapping a little patch on and walking away. You have to do it properly. And by the way, there's no guarantee that the crack won't come back at the same place again, because it's where the building has decided it wants to relieve its own stress. I hope that makes sense. Now, another common thing that we see is cracking at the intersection of the wall and the bottom of the foundation. This is very common in older buildings, and I say older buildings because older buildings that were stuccoed were never done properly in the way stucco is done today. This should have in here what's called a weep screed. And I put a couple of pictures to show you what that looks like. This would be what's called the weep screed. It's a piece of metal flashing that goes up. It sticks out about 1 inch or so, and it's got little holes in it. And this is the wire and the lath and all that good stuff that the stucco comes down. And it would be hanging down over the foundation stem wall. And what this does is a couple of things. One, it allows any water that gets behind the wall system to drain through these little weep holes, which is really critical. In this case, there is no place for the water to drain. So moisture that gets behind the wall, it comes down and it starts to back up at this joint or intersection, and it causes spalling and cracking of the stucco, and worse yet, in this particular case, it causes actual rot to the mud sill that is sitting on top of the foundation wall. So a lot of times we can retrofit an older wall with a weep screed, but it kind of depends on the details of how it was done as to whether or not we can kind of fit one in. But this is another view of the weep screed hanging down further than the wood framing and passed onto the foundation wall. That's the way stucco should be done. And the problem I was alluding to is if the stucco is back at this level, it's sometimes hard to get a weep screed in, because now in order to get the weep screed to sit over it, it's out further than the rest of the wall. So maybe a little confusing, but there's something to be addressed. And I figured I'd throw something else in here, because in this particular property, starting to get a lot of rot at the bottom of this wall. This detail of a piece of wood siding, and then you have stucco down here, and this is what's called a water table. And it's a piece of wood that sticks out further than the siding. And what we frequently see on these types of situations is we see that water over the years comes down and it begins to rot out the bottom of the wood siding. And it's because it comes down and the water's really got no place to go. And when they put the wood siding in, they put the wood siding in right on top of this water table with really no space for it to breathe. And more importantly, what should have been put in there is a piece of either L flashing or what they call Z flashing that goes up behind the siding, comes out on this water table, and actually would come down a little bit on this front face that you see. So water that comes down is automatically managed off and over this lip and not sitting and soaking on the wood. So the problem that we frequently see with this detail is this begins to rot out at the bottom, the water table begins to rot out, and water works itself behind the wall and starts going down into this wall system. So these are the problems that happen on houses. We've got a very experienced set of eyes in looking at this and trying to address and remedy this. And probably the most important thing for you to do is take care of what I would say is the building envelope, where it involves potential water intrusion. So that's typically your roof, your walls, and all of your windows that need to be carefully addressed. So Golden Gate Enterprises specializes in stucco repair, siding repair, waterproofing, dry rot, and structural damage and repairs. We do this throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. So give us a call if we can help you out. This is a specialized area. This isn't for the hacks or the little handyman, and that's nothing negative about any of those people. You just need experienced trade people to do this, and this is what we've been doing for 27, 28, 29 years. Okay, give us a call. That's the hotline. That's the website, and the company is Golden Gate Enterprises, fully licensed, bonded, insured, San Francisco Bay Area general contractors, and we work throughout the Bay Area. Give us a call. Thank you very much.